You dropped something down there. Please decide to work. Okay, so we are on Spiritism, and I'm going to go through some background on Spiritism first, um, and then we'll go back and talk about um, what they believe. So here's some background on Spiritism. Spiritism is a belief in many spirits, like the spirits control everything. There isn't necessarily a God, especially not a personal God, but good. And they're good spirits and they're bad spirits, and that's what determines your life. So here's some background on Spiritism. It comes from early shamanism, which is kind of like akin to our our American Indian religions. And it was first founded in Eastern Europe and East Asian cultures. And it morphed into what's now called Wicca, which is a group that casts spells and is part of witchcraft, and it's all a part of paganism. And voodoo would also be in that under that umbrella. And then it's practiced in many tribal societies in Africa and in the Americas. And I think we played a little clip from um, maybe we didn't from Pocahontas, but I think we talked about that. We didn't even talk about that. We talked about it. Okay, so that idea, everything has a spirit, and so that's akin to this idea. And then Spiritism started in the United States by a woman named Kate Fox and her sisters. Her sisters' names were Leah and Margaretta. And that was in the mid 1800s. And as a result of their contact with a dead person, so like a seance, and I'll talk later about why I'm doing the air quotes because I don't think they were talking to a deceased person. Um, and um, and so then she began conducting seances to help people to contact the spirit world. What I believe is going on there, and people do that, and try to do that. I believe that's demons. I don't believe that that's their and demons. So Satan isn't creative, and he's not all powerful, but he is powerful, and he is crafty, and his demons know things, but they don't know everything. They're not omniscient, so they could know those things about the deceased person. I had a friend many years ago who I worked with, and her parents died. She was adopted, but her parents died pretty young. And a number of years ago, she mentioned going to a seance to this man who um, is help says he contacts dead people so that you can know how your loved one is doing. And so she went to him, and she said he told me things that he couldn't have known about my parents. He told me things about my parents that were true that he could not have known. And I'm sure that's true, but demons can know those things. And I don't think she was that man was contacting her parents. I think he was contacting demons. I don't know if he knew that or not. I don't know if he believed he was talking to her parents or not. But Satan is not creative, but he does have power. So, and so there are people that do that contact your dead relatives to get a message from them. And then there's this thing called the Spiritist doctrine, and it's kind of a framework for Spiritism, maybe like a Spiritist's Bible sort of thing, but they do have a written kind of code. And then how does Spiritism, hang on. How does Spiritism answer the 5 life questions? God is the supreme intelligence. There's no such thing as a personal God. It's more like the force. There's a supreme intelligence, and that is the primary cause of everything. It's not described as a who, but as a thing. So it created that supreme intelligence. It created the universe and everything in it, including spirits. And the spirits have incarnated into the material world as human beings. So that's how we got here. We materialized from that. And then why is there such a mess in the world? The problems and the ugliness in the world are the result of less advanced, imperfect spirits trying to incite human beings in which they dwell toward evil. So there are spirits, but there are some spirits that are at least immature, maybe not bad, but at least immature, and they incite human beings to do that. So the devil really did make them do it, I think. Something like that. But that's the problem with that is that there's no such thing as personal responsibility. You can pass it off and say, well, it was the spirits, it wasn't me. I don't believe there's a thing like that. That's we are all responsible for our own behavior. And it is only those who are immature that don't own up to what they're, I like to put it this way, that don't own up to their own junk. There's no getting away from personal responsibility. And then the third question, is there any hope? There's a saying in Spiritism that says, without charity, there is no salvation. Charity is kindness. So without kindness, there is no salvation. But the way it works, one's salvation ultimately comes through an evolution of spiritual infancy to a state of spiritual perfection, and then through reincarnation, coming back even more spiritually astute. So it isn't like anything like Christian doctrine. It's of how we're supposed to be charitable. And the goal through charitable behavior is the moral and spiritual transformation of mankind. So we can make ourselves perfect, is what it's saying, through successive deaths and rebirths. We can do that. And then what is my purpose in life? And our purpose is to continually strive to do good in order to improve our position on our spiritual journey. If we do good, we go up. If we do bad, we go down. So that reincarnation either helps us progress higher or to regress lower. And then what happens when I die? The spirit is continually reincarnated, and death merely means a change of wavelength for the deceased. And then they also believe in mediums. So a medium is someone who comes between the person and the spirit world, and is said to be able to receive messages from these new frequencies, which others cannot sense. So, now I'm going to go back to the beginning of this part. So they reject the God of the Bible and choose to believe that this is a spirit world in general, And that's the reason for everything that happens. There is no transcendent God. It's the demons and the spirits that hold the strings. And so the goal is to please the spirits, because if you please the spirits, things go well. And the goal is to not tick off the spirits, because if you tick off the spirits, things don't go well for you. And then there's this group called Wicca. Have you heard about Wicca? It is it's witchcraft. It's a group. I can't call it really a religion, but they practice witchcraft, and it's a real thing, and it is powerful. Years and years ago, there was a Christian comedian who came out of Satanism, came out of Wicca, and he had seen things and experienced things that were completely unworldly, because the spirits, the evil spirits, were taking part in that. So let's look at some slides, and then I'll talk a little bit more about it. Oh, I gotta do this. I'll be back. So you can see this person that believes in spiritism, and you see God's spirits, demons everywhere, and God is completely out of the picture. There's no such thing as God. The world and everything in it is controlled by good spirits and bad spirits. And we're going to look at a couple of things here. So obviously Harry Potter is in a spirited world. That on the bottom right, there was a TV show called Charmed about these three sisters who were witches. Anime has a lot of, and there's two different things. There's a shaman king there, and that's part of spiritism. And I have no idea what that is up there, but I think they're witches. Doesn't it say witches or something up there? I think so. So spiritism is represented pretty frequently in media, and yeah, the goal is to make the spirits happy, so they don't do something bad to you. But here's the thing: there's no such thing as a good spirit. They're all bad. The people who practice this talk in terms of good spirits and bad spirits, but in this case, there's no such thing as a good spirit unless it's an angel of God. But the angels of God are not part of this way of thinking. So it will be no surprise to you that in this religion, in this way of thinking, they want to come into contact with those spirits. Again, I don't believe they're actually spirits. I don't believe they're actually dead people. I believe that they're coming into contact with demons when that happens. Whether that's through a medium or whether it is not. And so spiritism began as shamanism, and in not only in the Americas but around the world. So so people talk about good spirits and bad spirits, but really none of them are good. A good spirit is an angel, but they're angels and demons, and so none of the spirits that they are connecting with are good. I believe that they're demons. And do you think that the medium is purportedly talking to the deceased person? Do you think that that medium is actually talking to the deceased person? I agree. No. Who are they talking to? Yeah. A demon who knows. Yeah. Demons are not all knowing, but they know stuff spiritually, right? And they can know, and that's how my friend, the guy that she talked to knew about her parents because he was in contact with the spirit world, but not a good spirit world. We're going to do a little bit of, because you're going to have a test coming up here, a little bit of yeah, we already did this. So I'm just going to go over, I guess it's not on here. I want you to remember, because you're going to see this again, that that iceberg um, drawing where our worldview is below the surface. You can't see someone's worldview, but our worldview shapes our values. That also is under the waterline. You can't see that either. Just like an iceberg, you only see the tip of it, and the rest of it is the largest part of that iceberg. But you can't see someone's worldview, and you can't see someone's values. You can only see their behavior, but you can surmise that their values and their worldview through their behavior. If you would have known me when I was 14, 15, 16 years old, I was disrespectful, I was angry, I was mean, I was very disrespectful to my parents. And you could have seen that, um, kind of way of that behavior. And by that behavior, you could have ascertained what my worldview was or what my values were. But our behavior is shaped by those values, and which are ultimately built on a foundation of our worldview. And I did not have a Christian worldview until I was 17. So I'm going to read this last little bit for you, and I'm going to play a clip for you that I think you'll know, and then we'll be done for today. So this is the conclusion from the book. You can read along with me. I think it's probably in there. As we begin to grasp the concept of a worldview, we recognize that we all have one. It is like a pair of glasses through which we see the world. Though we may not be able to easily identify a person's worldview, it is ever present below the surface, profoundly shaping a person's values and behavior. Our understanding of this reality should affect how we interact with others. The Christian worldview is more than just a feel-good emotional response to life. It is a belief system that can and should be lived out and defended in our culture, where so many other ideas compete for the minds and hearts of people. Truth matters. When we give in to falsities, it pulls us away from God. Truth matters. It is critical that we become intimately familiar with the truth of Christ in order that we might recognize the many false claims to truth and earn the right to share the truth of the scriptures with others. The best way to share the truth of God is to love God by knowing the scriptures and being obedient to them, and also to love others. It is how we live and how we love our friends and our enemies that will show the world who we are. The remainder of our classes will focus on discovering more about the foundation of the Christian worldview and how we can live it out by understanding how others think, as well as learning about pressing social and moral issues of our day. So as we continue to walk through this book, we've laid this foundation of what is a worldview and what is the Christian worldview. And now we're going to begin looking at, okay, so how do we think Christianly about this situation? How do we think Christianly about this event or this idea? And we will be doing that as we go through this. And then toward the end of um, this lesson, you see the five major worldviews. There's on page, well, it's you have different pages. It's 2 pages of the five major worldviews. And you're going to need to spend some time with that before we have our test. I don't know when our test is, but I will know either tomorrow or Monday when it will be. I think it will probably be later next week. Yes. Yes, of course. Okay, so um, I'm going to play that clip, and I'm going to hand out, hey, hang on. I'm going to give you a study guide for you and for Ellen. Oh,
That's all.
And also, I put stuff in your folders if you want to get around. I haven't gotten to the leadership essays yet, but I'm close to getting
Like those.
okay.
No. No. Okay.
Okay, close your eyes. Close your eyes. And why? Because I don't want you to see it. Okay, here you go.
For sure.